Hello, this is a game between Tigran Petrosian and Evgeny Terpugov, and in this game, this is a short game, and the merit of this game is it shows that Petrosian is actually quite famous as a defensive player. He was called Iron Tigran, but in this game, we will see that he can also be quite attacking, and I will say that Evgeny did make some mistakes. Uh, he could have made some more optimized moves, I think, in the middle game, basically. And we'll see later, but Tigran Petrosian held his position quite well, and yes, obviously won. So let's go through this little game. Mm, I will try to analyze. And as I said, I will also learn myself. So the first move was d4. So this is like this is uh, started with the queen's pawn, and Tigran was Petrosian was black, and Evgeny was white. So knight f3, d6, knight c3, and bishop g4. Okay, so you can see, yeah, we are. Petrosian was actually trying for a close position, I guess, because he was not opening his pawn position, or at least not showing his hands as of yet. He just developed his knight and bishop, and here Evgeny was, Terpugov was uh, going to play e4, and okay, so c6, h3. Now that was to move the bishop away, or just asking him to trade the knight for the bishop. But that is a good thing, obviously, because we, as chess players, we are taught that bishops are already worth more in open positions. Okay, so the queen gets the bishop, and here knight bd7. The right move, I think, yeah, to develop here. So could have developed his bishops, either the dark square bishop or the white square bishop. Uh, Petrosian, you can see that he is actually going for it. Somehow he is developing his uh, pieces on the long side, and he is not opening his pawn position as of yet. He is going for the close position, and that's natural because he has two knights and one bishop, so he should, or he, being a grandmaster, he knew that going for the uh, closed position can be quite beneficial with two knights. So there you go. But Terpugov knew that he had to open the position, and that's what he did. He went on to develop his bishop, b3, a6. And once again, you can see that uh, the white has an open position over here. He has good square control. This center square controls, and this knight is blocked. This knight cannot develop itself, so he has to play with these pawns at first, or he can obviously improve his bishop over here, or go for the Indian, which we will see later. Yeah, yes, that's what he does, but that comes quite later in the game. This is quite an unusual game with unusual sequence of moves. Let's see how it proceeds. So from here, white gives g6. So he's actually opening the king side. That quite signifies, that quite says to Petrosian that okay, fine, I'm going to castle long. And the next move, uh, Petrosian uh, makes way for his bishop. So I think he's already targeting on the queen side. He's actually preparing his pieces so that he can open them on this side. So the knight can always move on here after this, and the rook over here, or queen. I mean, this is going to be, if he castles long, this is going to be a massacre. So at this moment he could have taken this, uh, but closing the position was not a bad move actually. Uh, he what he did, instead of exchanging the pawn with this pawn, what he did was pushing this pawn to e5. Now this was a strong move. The knight could come over here, but in that case he would lose a pawn, because this knight would get this knight and this pawn, and the queen would take this pawn. So simple enough. So Tigran obviously didn't want that, and this pawn is hanging. So they're not hanging as of now, but later on it can be quite a problem. Okay, so the game proceeds. uh, Knight moves there, knight moves, knight g8, and Terpugov castles long. Now this was not a good move, I think, because okay, you have done that. I mean, you can see this bar, you can see this little bar. It's showing that Terpugov's position is still at more, I mean, advantageous. It's better than Petrosians. Sorry, and at this moment, yes, if he could just move his pieces, move these pawns ahead and open this position, I think this can turn into a very good attack for Terpugov. But let's see what he does later. I mean, after this. So Tigran obviously opened his position with b5. He is actually preparing his attack on the long side. So this bishop has a long diagonal, open diagonal, and with this move, this pawn, this pawn can be taken easily. While this might not be that easy, but yes, it is protected by this knight and this bishop, and it is just protected by this bishop. So, and what's more, this pawn, if taken, it actually opens this position on this side a bit, so quite beneficial for attack for Petrosian. Let's see. I mean, but he would like to. If he, this king in the center is still not that safe. I mean, he would not really castle short right now, because he has got this bishop which he can move over here and then push this rook over here and push these pawns ahead. And if Petrosian castles short, this can be quite a problem, because with all these pieces directed on the king side, uh, it would be hard. I mean, and his pieces, his queen, this rook, this knight, these are all, and this knight is sort of blocked. He cannot come over here. So with all these pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if he actually brings all these pieces on the king side of the board, I think this would be a very strong attack on the king side, and that's why Petrosian doesn't uh, castle as of yet. He's not. He will level up the pieces, but he will castle later on, hopefully. Okay, so knight b6, and he's actually aiming for this square, and aiming for. But he will. Yeah. He might bring the knight over here, but he will. Probably he will not exchange this knight for this bishop, because this is very strong knight, and. I think attacking with this bishop is quite a good idea at this point of time. Hmm. Okay, but before that, I think here he should have pushed this pawn, because ultimately he needs to open this position. This side is weak and undeveloped, and you can see that after uh, this move, it's going to be the 12th move, and Terpugov has one, two, three, four. I mean, all his pieces are developed, and on for Tigran Petrosian, it's only one piece developed. And yes, the queen can develop any easily, can go to any square, but still, it's we cannot say that it's developed yet as of yet. Yes, he's pushing his pawns, and this bishop will eventually come out, but it's still not clear, still uneasy. I mean, hard to say how it's going to be. But you can see from this little bar that white has a better position than black. So uh, I'm not sure. Um, he was Portakov was a grandmaster, and he was playing well till this point, and he should have moved this pawn ahead, but he didn't. Okay, so the knight comes, so knight c4, and he could have protected. I mean, this bishop was probably going to come over here. So why not this? You know, it's not. You can obviously move this knight to e2, or you can push this pawn again. I mean, this pawn needs to go. These two pawns needs to go ahead and break this barrier. It needs to go over there. And since we are playing with two bishops, and he's obviously playing with one bishop, and that also sort of crippled because he cannot come to uh, d6 or c5, and we need to open the position. Terpugov didn't do that. Terpugov played. He was actually scared that this knight would take this bishop, but and perhaps he was just trying to push this pawn forward and bring his bishop over here. Now that was good plan, but this bishop is not doing much. Then rather than protecting this pawns, and maybe when this one comes over here, maybe it will protect this pawn as well, but, and also be on a long diagonal. So that was Terpugov's idea. Let's see how the game turns out. Okay, g5, 97, h4. Slowly the pawns are moving ahead. C5. Okay, c5 now comes, which is sort of. Oh God. Sorry. Which is a predictable move because Petrosian was going to open his position. It was evident, and if this pawn takes this, the queen will take this, and maybe this pawn is going to come forward and push this knight away. And obviously, then the rook can come over here, or here, or so. It's actually, I mean, Petrosian is actually, and then he can obviously move this pawn ahead and bring this bishop over here for a better attack on this diagonal. So the next move was d into c5. This was not a bad move because, okay, fine. Going into c5, rook he1. Now this move, I really didn't know. Don't know because why push this rook from here to, okay, fine, you want to protect this pawn obviously, but why not bring the knight queen over here? I think that would have been a better option, but if this was given instead of this rook coming to re1, could have given this instead, like he could have pushed this pawn forward, and if in exchange Petrosian moved this pawn to drive this knight away, he could have just taken this, and then the play would have transpired like this. And there you go. With bishop into b2, the bishop comes into the long diagonal, and it becomes quite a strong position for white. The two bishops are at a very strong place, and this bishop is certainly protected. And with these two pawns in this structure, I mean, they are obviously moving forward. And these pieces, I mean, these two pieces are not developed. The queen is in the center. I think this could have been quite a better position for white, but it didn't transpire in this way. So what happened is, after this rook moved from h to e, uh, Petrosian opened the gave g6 to bring his bishop over here and finally castle on the king side. So that's what happened. b3 to push this knight away. This was a sort of weak move, I would say, but there could have been better moves. But I mean, Terpugov didn't go for them. Yes, as expected, he brought his bishop over here to the long diagonal, and he's going to castle kingside. He's going to bring his two rooks on this side, and naturally, this attack is going to be quite devastating. Again, this pawn should have been here. He needs to break through this chain somehow. But at this point, he makes a big mistake. He takes this knight with his pawn. I mean, he doesn't see that this knight is. I mean, if you take this knight, I mean, Petrosian didn't remove this knight. So basically, he wasn't caring for this knight. He was actually caring about opening this position, and that's what he did. You see, if you take this knight, if you take this knight with this pawn, and this is how it transpired. So this bishop is actually blocked away. So now he can bring this knight over here, and here, or here. I mean, you can bring this knight here, and he has two rooks over here. I mean, obviously he's going to castle kingside, and he's going to have two rooks over here. So this is going to be massacre. This is going to be very hard for any player to play. This position is completely open right now, and whatever advantage white had over black is now neutralized. You can see that from this bar. bf1. From this, he's actually desperately trying to bring his bishop to a better position, but it's going to be hard. Yep. Yeah, as expected, castling on the short side, king side, king a1, removing it from the open file, and rook fb8. Simple enough. The knight comes to b1. Not a good move. He could obviously, I think he was planning to bring his bishop on here to attack the queen, but let's see how it transpired. Knight c6. Okay, queen g3. Not a good move, but at this point, he could have played this. At this point, he could have. It was not a good move. I don't think so, but still, he could have brought this. Maybe this. Yeah, you can see this arrow engine suggests that the C pawn should be moved to c3, so that you can bring the rooks from this bring to the second rank, and then move it over here to protect the king. But Terpugov didn't do that. Terpugov had different plans in mind, but at this point of time, there couldn't be any plan. Okay, and I think this was because he feared that the knight would move here, and it was taking the queen, not taking the queen, but queen had to move away anyway. So yep, yep. You see, if the queen didn't move away, he could come here and then here. He would take this pawn, and the queen was in check and mate. So it was anyway hard to stop. So queen to b1. I mean, this was a great sacrifice. You see, it brings the king in the open file, and that was a great move. And from here you can basically see how how Pertugov's position is absolutely ransacked, to be honest. I mean, it doesn't have any way of saving his position. Yes, the rook is coming over here, and then again queen a1. Then c3. What it does is it basically makes place for the queen to come over here, so that when he moves his knight over here and he brings his queen over here, so it's going to be checkmate. Or if he takes the queen, and this knight can move from which was here, could just come over here, and it's checkmate anyway. So this was the plan, and this was a very strong plan. This was a checkmate plan, mating net basically. So c3, and this bishop was blocking the way, and he also needed to take this pawn, because obviously the number of pieces would have been equal, but what it would have done instead is it's making the way for this bishop come here. And also but still it's not enough, because this mating net is already placed, and the next move, the knight to b4, it's going to be very hard to stop that. Yeah, let's see. So the knight, it's still protecting this pawn, because if the knight comes over here, it's checkmate. So it's protecting that pawn, but now the king moves into queen c4, and it's game over. So that's a great game, and with this queen sack, this was a great game. This was great. I would say, if you just go to the 12th position here, and you will see that at this point of time, this bar, white has better position in relative to white, and he could just push his pawns over here, and he has two bishops, so he could just open this position up, and he could just break through Petrosian's position. But Petrosian was, after all, Iron Petrosian. It's not that easy. In each and every move, he improved his position, and so that by the let's say this position, he was obviously in a better position. With his two rooks were joining in the game, his queen was on the queen was uh, on a very aggressive position. This knight was also coming to join the game, and this rook was in a better position too. Was obviously on long diagonal and attacking this pawn. And if this pawn moved away, this bishop could have also joined the game. So basically, all his pieces were joining the game, and on Pertukov's part, only two pieces were playing, and all the other pieces were on the back rank, or the lowest rank. So this was a really weak play by Pertukov, I would say. So that's it for today, and a great game by Petrosian where he kept the initiative, which he is not famous for, and also this game is not also famous that much, but still this is something I wanted to study because it does teach you the importance of having a strong position or improving your position with each step. Thank you.